Guys, welcome to episode 99. That's right, 99, episode 99 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, we've got this is a huge show. I'm gonna talk fast because we have Arkansas legislators tried to vote on a bill to limit motorsport facilities to 75 decibels in the state of Arkansas. I think these guys are idiots. We're going to announce the location of the 2025 Circuit Racer Party. I'm excited about that. Caroline from Youth Services of Tulsa is going to be on to talk about what they do for the community and why they are our charity of choice for this year. Mr. Eric White, will you hit that intro video and let's do this?
Yep, let's do it. We're gonna pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. Well, again, welcome to episode 99 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. My name is Mike Narks. I am the host of the Drag Driver Pete Show and news. This man, like your source. This is your source for news and entertainment from the Drag and Drive community, stats and stories from that place as well. I'm telling you, I've lived it today, man. It's been a crazy day getting to talk to all of our race car friends about this Arkansas State deal. They're wild. Mr. Eric White back in the studio. My co-host, my right-hand man. Introduce yourself. Tell them what's been up, man.
I am Eric White, co-host of both the news and the show. Right-hand man, like Mike mentioned, anything drag, drive, repeat related or the circuit related. I've got my hands in all of that, plus other events. So, help out with artwork for a few other events. And appreciate everybody. I've been reaching out for the circuit, getting pictures for artwork. So I know I've messaged a ton of people, and I appreciate everybody sending me photos so I can make those artworks. And of course, want to say a big thanks to Stone Cipher for being on last week while I was gone, and Fro for running the comments. I had some family things to take care of. So appreciate everybody that kind of helped fill in my absence and keep this show rolling.
Yeah, man, certainly appreciate them. Well, guys, listen, we can't do it. Those guys are those are our race car friends, man. We can't do
That's
that.
right.
We can't do this without them. And so again, big shout out to those guys for helping last week, and everybody that's already made comments tonight. Everybody that will make comments tonight. We've got again a huge show, and they keep getting bigger. I cannot believe, dude. Next week we're going to celebrate 100 episodes of this, and I was looking at it beforehand, and I sent this to you. 400 live streams, 423 live streams is what we've done on the Drag Driver Pete channel. Absolutely insane. From events, this show, the news, man, we've been live so many times, more than 1,200 videos posted up on the channel. So can't do that without you guys. They can't do that without our race car friends. So thank you so much to all you guys for being here and being a part of it. And then, of course, our sponsors making all the travel and equipment and making this whole life I live possible. We appreciate all of their support. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Deechworks, our newest sponsor, Howard's Cams, who was on Saturday morning, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Man, we can't do it without all of those guys. And let's get right into this because I see John Paul Franks is already in the backstage back there. So this is going to be a fun one. Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop. With 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions, they fuel your passion, save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. Find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And you can listen to them on the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions like this. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. And when you're over there shopping on summitracing.com for your parts, go ahead and grab you one of those drag, drive, repeat Summit hoodies or t-shirts or the big brim hat, because you're going to have that kind of stuff. You're going to need the big brim hat as we get into the summer months here. The first weekend of drag racing happens at Tulsa Raceway Park this weekend.
Oh boy,
it's gonna be crazy. How long till you guys open your tracks up there?
Probably another, I'd say a month or two still.
Wow, man. I'm sad for you, buddy. I'm sad for
Yeah.
you. We're doing chassis certs and a test and tune this Saturday, so it's gonna be kind of awesome.
You see, I got my new hoodie on. Should I tell them about how I almost had to burn it today?
Yes, definitely tell them.
So got my race car friend's hoodie. Just got it. Worn it once so far, and getting ready to put it on to start the show. Literally 5 minutes before the show, and I sent Mike a picture. And while it was in my closet, some big ass spider decided it was going to make a home on my hoodie and made a whole ass web on the front of the hoodie and was just chilling on there. So thought I was going to have to burn it for a second. Luckily, I was able to evacuate him, and hoodie's still safe.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the circuit because, like I said earlier, we're going to announce the location of the racer party. For folks that don't know, the circuit is, it's my baby. It really is. I love this. It's an opportunity. It's a weekend event, weekend drag and drive for people to kind of get together, and we take a completely different approach. I love food and fun, and so we do a lot of that, right? So last year we did go-karts. This year we're bowling. I got kind of inspired by Sick Week's party, where they kind of had the block party. So that was a ton of fun. So I wanted somewhere we could all go and kind of end up in the same spot. So Broken Arrow Lanes is they're gonna host us, and I don't know if I've talked to anybody that's as excited than they are about us coming. I told her 300. She said, bring it on. We can't wait to see that many people in here. They do a ton of tournaments and stuff, so they're used to big crowds and all that. And the parking lot's big. So that's another big win there. And, we were talking about games because obviously go-karts last year was a big hit, and that made it easy, race, ram into each other, all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking maybe what about like a you versus you in bowling? Because I know how to bowl and get points. I just bowl, and those are the points I get. So I want to see who can have the smallest spread in points. So it's gonna be awesome to see, all of that, and then all the arcade games. They just doubled their arcade size. It's gonna be crazy. We're gonna have a blast.
Are we going to have the whole place to ourselves?
Oh yeah. That's how we're gonna do that racer party as long as we can, because it's so much easier than having to fight some regular public. So it's ours Saturday night from 6 to 10, and then literally we'll go right over from there back to Tulsa Raceway Park for the Midnight Drags. So it's gonna be pretty crazy, man.
Awesome. I do love bowling, so that should be a good time.
Yeah, perfect. All right. I don't know anything about, I can't score that, but I'm definitely going to try. So who gets the closest 2 games in a row? All right, man. Lead us into Driven.
All right. Driven Racing Oil is the performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application, whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing limits in top field drag boats and demo derbies. Winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cling and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil, then enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance. And you guys know drivenracingoil.com is where you can go to pick up your oil or any merchandise, and Driven Racing Oil on Facebook and Instagram.
That is for sure. And the first event up on the docket today is Heads Up Hustle. And so John Paul Franks called me earlier. And Mr. John Paul Franks, we're going to let you tell this story because this is so exciting, dude.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. I am so excited to announce that Melling Performance is coming on to be our title sponsor for Heads Up Hustle. So it's Heads Up Hustle presented by Melling Performance. They are your go-to for oil pumps, valve train, timing components, water pumps, and more. They're located in Jackson, Michigan. We were able to stop by there and leave some rubber on the road in front of their factory last year, and we're excited to go back there as well this year.
Man, that's so exciting for you guys. I know you spend a ton of time working on this event, and that's a big win for you, man. I'm pumped because that's the only event that I announce. So it may not be the only one I do for 2025, but it's the only Dragon Drive I got on the docket right now. I'm pumped, man. This is great. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited to have them, and they were super helpful last year, and I think they even helped out some racers with parts and stuff. Hey, Jonathan, good to see you. Yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah.
Our registration went really well last weekend. We're not sold out, but oh yeah, to the Spider Gears. I think he broke his rear end doing a burnout in front of Melling last year. So
yep,
got a little too aggressive, but Dan does some pretty sweet burnouts with that.
yeah.
With
I was
his,
gonna say it was the
Blazer.
sudden traction that broke that stuff for
I
Dan.
think so.
Yeah.
Let off and
Yep, got him. Well, what are the dates? What are the tracks, man?
yeah, so Heads Up Hustle starts at Milan Dragway on July 25th. It's a Friday, starts Friday morning. Then Friday evening we drive through Jackson, Michigan, where Melling is, and we get to the Edmore Inn in Edmore, Michigan. Have a nice big hangout in the parking lot there before we head down to Mid Michigan Motorplex, which is the background you can see behind me here. Have a great day there Saturday. Then we head to Mountain Machine for our racer party. So Mountain Machine is going to be hosting a racer party this year. Chris Ritter, he's the owner of Mountain Machine, and we're going to have a car show there, food trucks. Their shop's available for any work that needs done, and not only is the car show for Heads Up Hustle, but there's going to be a car show with other people that are not Heads Up Hustle.
Oh, sweet.
Similar to what you guys did on the circuit 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's going to be a legit car show there. So that'll be really fun. And then Sunday morning, we'll be back at Milan for eliminations.
And then what at Milan? Like it's like eliminations in Heads Up Hustle, and then what happens?
And then Carl Balzer's event, No Half Sends, happens, which there's going to be mud drags, a mud bog, there's drifting, Australian style burnouts, and then he has a streetcar shootout at the end of the day.
Yep.
So like Milan on July 27th is the place to be. So mark your calendars, come out, watch Heads Up Hustle, watch Race Rebuild Repeat is going to be there doing they're going to be doing mud bogs, they're going to be doing the dirt drags, and then the Skids for Kids guys are doing all the Australian style burnout stuff. It's gonna be really fun.
It is epic. Like, man, last year was insane. This year is going to be even wilder. All right, dude. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks you for spending the time with us, man. Thanks for the call today. And again, I'm proud and congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.
Everybody, we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Man, I'm telling you, that's awesome and a big win for him. That's really, really cool. So congratulations to them and the racers. I mean, that provides more that they're able to do, and obviously we'll get a lot more attention that way on Heads Up Hustle. Street Week Sweden just announced their dates, July 6th through 12th, and there's other events that are big. 2025 is crazy. 2025 is crazy. So we're going to talk about Street Week Sweden a little more next week when there's more details that are out there. And then this thing, man, Sick at the Rock just continues to gain steam. They're now incorporating a drag and drive element for the event, 225 car limit, and they're paying out to 32 different categories. This is what's kind of neat. So it's a single class, but within it, there's 32 different categories: quickest small block, quickest big block, quickest NA small block, quickest NA big block, quickest turbo, quickest nitrous. All this, there's a whole big list. I mean, you find them on the thing there. It's listed on this, but you can also find them on the list that Derek put up in Sick the Mag. I think that's pretty neat. It kind of follows their same pattern as their one-off events. and it's a weekend deal. So it's either a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever that weekend is. I think it's a Friday, Saturday on that one. And so Derek said they hadn't worked out the mileage that they'll drive, but all of it's going to be based like a regular drag and drive for this class, So you're going to have, averages are going to matter. Whatever pass you make on Friday or Saturday is going to, you're going to need to get close on Saturday or Sunday as well. So kind of cool, man. And then registration opens up this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and 225 cars, that's a bunch.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, oh man, I didn't put it in here. Nope, it's next. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Home quarter drag and drive. I think this is the 5th event in Canada this year or something like that.
Yeah.
Growing across the world, but they have announced they are a 3-day event. So they're going to do June 13th through 15th, and they'll have basically 2 drives, which they're staying at one track. So I'm excited to see how this format works, because there's not been many that have done 3 days with the same track. A lot of times if people are going to do a 3-day race, it's, track 1, you drive to track 2 for day 2, and then back to track 1 for day 3. So I'm excited to see how this works. I think it'll work great. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's going to work, because by the end of that, you're going to have a ton of data, and so you're going to be really fast on Sunday. Is my thought.
Yeah, that's a good thought on that. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Right. And then why don't you tell us about these, man? I've been talking a whole bunch. Sorry.
Yeah, so the Hot Lap Challenge, they did make an announcement that it is postponed until 2026. So definitely sad to hear that. We were looking forward to seeing what that event would bring. But hey, you got a whole nother year to prepare for that one. So anybody in that Louisiana area come February, I would assume probably the same time frame, but
I would think so.
2026, be on the lookout for that. You gotta, in order for these to keep popping up, we got to attend these events. So people need to sign up, and if you sign up, make sure you attend, because I think that one's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, for anytime you can have Chad Reynolds, the dude that's done it since the beginning. I mean, that's going to be a great event.
Right. Yep. And then the Central Georgia Battle of the Streets, that is March 8th, the one-day deal at Silver Dollar Motorsports Park. And Mike Mayo had posted that the gates open at 10. Be ready to tech. You will be sent on your drive after tech. Be ready to race by 1 p.m. Stay by your car. Be ready to race. I will not wait on you. Be in your car, strapped in.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he says, must be at least 8 car minimum per class, except for Renegade and Hot Rod 2.0. I thought that was kind of interesting. He said that if we don't have the car count, he'll either call the class or sorry, if they don't have the car count, he'll call the class and put you in another class. So I think that really makes sense. As long as it's, at least close. Somebody that signed up maybe in, Hot Rod 1.0. I don't know if that's a class or not, but if they get in there and there's not, there's not enough people in that class, maybe they were looking for an easy win. I think he wants to take that kind of stuff out of there. He said he would maybe make it like a best of 3 time run, which I think would be cool for them to get kind of into that zone of drag and drive stuff. And then he said there's like almost 700 people in the Central Georgia Battle of the Streets group. He said there's no reason why at least half can't show up. Now, half would be a lot, but 100 I think would be a huge event, to be honest with you.
Like for a one-day deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then he said, but he did say if we don't have the car count, this will be the last of these races. So it costs a lot to do that. I mean, he says that too. It's he said, so at least you can do is show up. But I'm going to tell you right now, to continue to grow this community and these motorsports events like this, we've got to show up to these things, just like you're saying. We've got to get out there and do that. Saturday is going to be all about events, man. We're at 35 or 36 events, and 9 of those happen in June. Like I think there's like 3 days that there isn't drag and drive racing going on across the world in June. I haven't done the math like I did last year, but June is crazy. July is crazy. Obviously, to have this many events at this point in the year is a bunch. We start seeing a lot of like September and October events pop up, in the next few weeks. So I would imagine we're going to cross 40 events this year, and 35 on the list so far. You can find the full list, dragdriverpete.com/event list dash 2025. It's nuts to think that we have that many events that are happening out there. So,
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll have plenty to talk about for the next few months.
oh yeah, that's for sure. All right. Well, let's get to the JWire Solutions part. This is going to be kind of controversial, to be honest with you. JWire Solutions, expert car and marine wiring solutions you can trust. JWire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, or your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products that make your driving experience better. Like the blinker module that is a must for all drag and drive racers. You got to have this. This allows your blinker to work just like your stock daily driver does. So usually if you have an aftermarket harness and you hit the brakes, your blinker no longer blinks, right? Which is kind of a problem if you're pulling in somewhere. So this module kind of helps eliminate that. And then there's a ton of new stuff that Jay and the team at JWire are coming out with that we can't announce yet, but hopefully he said that maybe next week or the week after we can have him on and trans brake stuff for turbo 400s, kind of a better way to, all kinds of neat stuff. I'm not going to talk about all of it yet, but it's really, really neat. Well, I was hoping Matt Reesner would be in here by now to talk about this, but y'all, these two idiots right here on the screen are Arkansas state legislators, officials. I don't know what you call them. One's a senator and one's a state representative. I live in Arkansas. And so when this started kind of making its rounds this morning early, immediately people went to work trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So apparently, this bill, HB 1564, these guys are crazy. This new bill is basically, it is on top of what was already in place. Okay. So there was already stuff like this in place where you had to apply for permits to have a racetrack or any kind of motorsports facility. Okay. Well, now it goes into all of these other steps where at the property line, they didn't want to have any sound greater than 75 decibels, which
Which
is
is wild.
everybody's been using the vacuum cleaner. So it would be like vacuuming outside and at your property line. If people could hear that, you'd be fined. You would be in violation of your permit. Okay, so that's a problem. Obviously, for any kind of drag racing, because we know you can hear that a lot farther than your property line. And then the quiet hours. I love this. This tells you how old people are. Quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., which makes no sense, especially for any kind of drag racing deal or anybody that's going to be out doing things side by side racing, motocross, things like that at night. And then annually, you would go back in to renew your permits, which is kind of a problem. Now, this was already sort of in place to where the public could vote on it, which we all know that's what happens. Anytime something new is going to be built, the public can go in and say, hey, you can't permit it for that type of development. Well, what's really crazy is that one of these guys, this Senator Ronald Caldwell, is a real estate developer. Huh, interesting. Wanting to get rid of motorsports areas. Well, the story we heard is that one of these guys or one of their good friends for a long time has fought with a local or with their local um, off-road park. It's the Ridge Off-Road Park or something like that. And the side-by-sides driving at night. That was kind of what caused all of this to kind of get in the works. Well, they recently sold it. So now's a perfect opportunity because the facility is closed while they go through the transition of ownership to put in some kind of new situation like this, right? So everybody in the state of Arkansas like jumped on board with this, getting in, trying to figure out how they could help. Well, Matt sent me something earlier. He obviously is part of the SEMA program, like young developers or young builders or something like that from a few years ago. And so he is highly involved in the SEMA community. And so he jumped on, talked to them. They sent out a letter to the state. And then from there, they had like 1,300 people submit from the state of Arkansas, saying that this doesn't work. We don't please don't do this, whatever.
Wow.
So 1,300 people, it had 300 in an hour of putting the link up. Absolutely
Dang.
crazy. So big shout out to the folks in Arkansas trying to put this out. Tom Tashner, Lucky 8 Performance, sent me a link earlier. Alex Taylor was talking about it on her channel on Instagram. The SEMA Action Network had a video out already. And one thing that Matt did say is that he's very surprised how fast that SEMA got involved in this. And it's probably a good thing they did, because there was literally, they read this for the first time 2/24, 2 days ago, and they were going to vote on it this morning at 10 a.m. So nobody knew about it. Everybody sees it this morning at about 8 o'clock is when I kind of sat down at the table to start working. I see it by 10 o'clock. I've got the live stream pulled up for the reading of all this stuff. And the first thing that those guys said when the live stream came on for the Arkansas State, they said, we're not going to talk about Bill 1564 and 1567 or 16, whatever it is. We're not going to talk about those at this time. So that tells you right there in that 2 hour window, everybody, because I emailed every person on the committee, like, what, please reconsider. Don't approve this or whatever. But then also asking, like, what does this mean? Like, if you guys read it, are you literally voting on this will be a bill today? And never got any response back from any of those guys. So hopefully all of the backlash that the bill received, surely everybody went, well, hang on, wait, let's not do this. That's not smart.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Oh man, I hope. I'm telling you, this is pretty scary, because you know how it works. Like, somebody gets something like this approved, and then they can lean on you, and then suddenly another state says, oh, well, hey, I think we can do that too.
Right.
I think we word it the same way they word it, and it gets to you, and now suddenly we're all fighting for it.
Yeah, and it's crazy that it's would affect the whole state, right? Like,
yeah, the whole state of Arkansas.
I couldn't imagine. Like, I've seen things like this with different counties before, but man, to go at a whole state level is just insane.
Well, and it was basically, it's going to be run under a state of emergency. Like, are you serious? Like, it's a state of emergency. We're not even racing right now. And so maybe that's why they were trying to get it passed now, was so they could have those, permissions or that power as we go into the racing season. And, it just comes down to, like, when a developer builds a big community close to, like, Bradenton Motorsports Park, and then everybody in there complains because the noise is loud. Well, yeah, you bought a house that's right down the street from a drag strip. Did you not think it was going to be loud? But those folks go and look at those houses, let's say on a Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, there's no noise.
Right.
It's really not that bad. I thought being closer to the drag strip would be bad. And then on Saturday morning at 2 a.m., they're like, I hate this. And then they start complaining. And that's where it really kind of kicks off and goes from there. So,
yeah, I'm glad you saw it, and I mean, I couldn't imagine if this would have snuck through and nobody noticed it. That'd have been horrible.
Yeah, big shout out to Kylie Reynolds. He's the one that shared Tim Crawley's post about it this morning. And man, I can't imagine how many times Tim's post has been shared based on what I saw my post do. It's just crazy.
Yeah, like Johnny Allen said.
Yeah, that was what I immediately thought of when they started talking about the like the planned community around Bradenton Motorsports Park was like going to be drag strip friendly and circle track friendly. I'm like, man, are they going to have like a back entrance to where people in the neighborhood can get in without, they'll have like deals. So I thought, man, could I buy one of those houses and just Airbnb that thing?
Oh yeah, could you imagine?
Oh, sign me up, man. I'd live down there in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's almost like they need to have waivers when you buy those houses, like sign this waiver that you're not gonna try to shut down the racetrack because you moved here.
Well, right, and they do. That was one of the biggest things for Cletus them to get approved, was the neighborhoods that are being built around them. They are, supposedly they're having to sign waivers that they understand that they're by a drag strip and noise will be loud and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing: like, the first person may sign that, but is the realtor going to make the second person sign it? And how long is that really viable? Like, can you do that for 5 years, or is it 10 years, or is it 25? I doubt it's 25.
Right.
So we'll see. I know Victor and Cletus both have talked about they're already looking at land, and they'll build another facility when they get to that point of being pushed out. But yeah, we have at least 5 or 8 years before that happens
Yeah.
for sure with Bradenton. Now Arkansas tracks, I don't know, man. If this is the case, we're going to be in trouble because this isn't going to go away.
Right. And it's not just drag racing. Like, that's
Mm-mm.
the thing. Like, I don't know how many drag
Yep.
strips are in Arkansas, but start looking at all of motorsports, circle
Yeah.
tracks, and anything like that.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
motocross, side by side, like even just motorsports facilities. So if you have an area that runs trails and you pay to get into that, they can shut that down. So it could almost be like somewhere fun that you just go to hang out and have fun. Well, once a year they hold a big race. Now you can't go there at all. So what does
yeah.
that do to the owner of that? Now they've bought and built all this place and all that kind. I mean, it could be really interesting. So we're going to follow this very, very closely because man, who doesn't love a good fight?
I feel like there's a couple of those going on right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, let's move on to the Molly Motorsports segment here, sir.
Yep. Racers and high performance enthusiasts ready to start your next engine build? If so, there is no better time than now to check out Molly Motorsports all in one Power Pack piston kits. With over 1,200 application, these kits come complete with pistons, rings, wrist pins, and clips designed to work together. Molly Motorsports Power Pack piston kits take out all the guesswork. No more trying to determine if a piston will need this ring to work with a certain cylinder size. Molly Motorsports did all the engineering so you can get to the part that matters, which is building a power plant that leads to victory lane. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And of course, for our podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle.
Yep. Well, in this segment here, you guys know the circuit has always been like we've hosted events 12 years. Big shout out to Jonathan Stone Cypher, Uncle Stony for being a part of this whole thing. And we've raised more than like $70,000 over the years. We've raised truckloads of toys and supplies and things like that. So we use the circuit as a way to raise awareness and donations. And basically, I'm going to say this before Caroline comes on. We want kids to know that the car community gives a shit about them. So I feel like that's always the best way to say what we do and why we do it is because the car community is really one of the coolest. There's a lot of really, really good people in this. And a lot of times, this youth services of Tulsa is kind of, I really feel like what I've been looking for a while. So this is going to be fun. So let's bring on Miss Carolyn. Carolyn,
Hello.
hi, how are you? She is, well, tell us who you are, what you do, and all that stuff at youth services.
Sure, of course. My name is Carolyn. I'm the Associate Director of what is my title? It's very long. The Associate Director of Community Relations and Communications at Youth Services of Tulsa. First of all, I just want to say that we're so honored. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I've just been sitting in on this conversation for the past 10, 15 minutes, and this is a world that I personally know very little about. I grew up, my dad was a big Formula One fan all the way back from the 70s. So I grew up watching racing of that kind and at that, in those international crazy tracks and spaces.
Mhm.
So it's really cool to know that, something exists here too. It's just
Oh, yeah.
never been on my radar. And I can also say that I am so excited for some of the YST kiddos to get involved, to come and
Oh,
see
yeah.
what, we serve young people ages 12 to 24 with a variety of different programs and services. And I can already tell you that the kiddos in our emergency adolescent shelter, ages 12 to 17, this will be amazing for them. This will be unlike anything they will have ever seen. And I love bringing them to those kinds of experiences. So yeah, thank you so much. $70,000 is incredible.
It took a long time. But what's really cool is we donate a portion of all the shirt sales. We donate $25 of every entry, all that kind of stuff, right directly to you guys. And because of AT Industries' $2,000 donation, we're already over $7,000. So
That's
we're
amazing.
like we're gonna hit our goal. We just got to,
Amazing.
it'll be the most we've ever raised ever. So it's kind of
Wow.
exciting to go into that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Well, and one of the big things that I think I like about your situation there is like older kids typically get left out of the help that's out there, right? And granted, a 15-year-old boy is in a way different scenario of earning income and getting out there doing their own thing than a 7-year-old, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And
those
then
guys
the other,
get
the
lost.
Absolutely. The teenagers get lost. And then the other segment of that population that we serve that I think really, really, really gets lost is that kind of 18 to 24.
Mhm.
We do a lot of our kind of street outreach services, homelessness services is for that community of young people. And really, these are the young people that, they're not like cute anymore. And you can see some of them in the pictures right here. They're not like the cute kids anymore, but they are the angsty teens or the 18, 19 year old who's out on the streets for the first time. And
Mhm.
like, I remember myself at that age, I would have been horrible. And like,
Oh yeah.
what do you do? And a lot of them, have been kicked out of home, or maybe they've been experiencing chronic homelessness. Maybe they've just, a lot of our kiddos tend to be young people who were within the foster system. So
Mhm.
aged out of foster care. And then what do? Our executive director always says, college for me, university, college, that was our transitional living program. For the young people who don't have access to that, or that's not an option, what do they do?
Yeah.
Where do they live? Where do they learn how to have a job? Where do they, all of these things that we were kind of taught when we were young, and that often were modeled to us by our parents. They just weren't for a lot of this population. So really, I mean, you're totally right. It's those young people that kind of get left behind by society, and kind of it's easy to kind of look away.
Well, and I think Ben Franklin was one that says you can't race a house, but you can race a car, and you can live in a car.
Yeah, absolutely you can. And a lot of our young people do.
Yeah. So I think that's where this is going to be fun, right? Obviously, the people within the car community, especially that are going to be doing this, we are a fun-loving bunch. We're going to have a blast. But
Awesome.
when you start bringing in young adults to car stuff that they've never really been involved with, the circuit, the drag and drive community is so open that those young people will, I hate to say kids, those young people will walk over and they'll be talking to those and they'll say, what do you do? Or, oh yeah, I work here, I work there, whatever. And everybody here has regular jobs, right? Everybody that does this has regular jobs. And I'm hoping that that will kind of like motivate them. Hey, this guy's got a cool car and he has just a regular job.
Right. Absolutely. And I think the other side of it for me too is, even just the mechanical side of things,
Mhm.
knowing that that's an option, that there are people out there who have, are working on their own cars, building their own cars. That's a skill set that somebody can acquire. When I say some of these young people are, of course they're highly intelligent. We've got fantastic artists, fantastic, amazing, intelligent
Yep.
individuals that just haven't had the opportunity to express it. And maybe it's not, maybe they don't ace the English paper, but they might be able to build a car engine,
Yep.
no problem. And so having that introduction to that world, we do a lot of programming with employment and education, and really just the nuts and bolts of this program are just trying to introduce young people to, what's out there that isn't just like the traditional job, the traditional career, and being able to see that, not only racing cars, but working on them, building them, being in this community, being in a community that is incredibly supportive and giving and generous is, I'm very, very excited and interested to see kind of the spark that lights in some of our
Yep.
young people. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's probably exactly what's going to happen. Like if you ever needed motivation to make money or figure out something on your own, just get into cars because parts are expensive.
Mhm.
And if you can't pay for people to build your stuff, you've got to figure it out on your own. And, a lot of times it's going to be awesome 10 years from now when we're all still doing this.
Yeah.
And the guys come up and the guys and girls come up and they're like, we came to the circuit that
Yes.
weekend that you guys were here and it motivated us to do that. And then also we haven't talked about this, but there's a high school in Pittsburgh, Kansas that's bringing their race car.
Oh,
So who
cool.
knows where this could go? Like you could end up with the motivation for a local high school teacher to now they're building a car to compete against this other high school.
Oh, for
And
sure.
it suddenly gets kids involved. Hey, I've got to do better in English so I
Mhm.
can go to auto shop and build this car.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just creating that well-rounded experience of, yeah, you're totally right. Motivation and just realizing what is accessible. I told you I grew up watching Formula One, like talk about an inaccessible sport, but just to realize that actually you can bridge that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
can bridge that gap and work on your own car and do all these really cool, fun, high octane adrenaline rush activities. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, the great thing about drag racing compared to Formula One is burnouts. I mean, like, they don't do burnouts in Formula One. They're trying not to anyways. Well, walk us through kind of what you guys do, and then a little bit of history, kinda like from here back.
Sure, sure. So where we are right now, I will preface this all by saying that Youth Services of Tulsa, I mentioned we serve young people in all of Tulsa County, ages 12 to 24. Now, anybody who kind of knows Tulsa County knows we're sort of like long and skinny, but what that means for us is like, of course, we have downtown Tulsa, we've got our kind of very, very populated area, but then we've got a lot of rural pockets as well. We've got, Owasso, Broken Arrow, Bixby, and within that, there's really a wide range of experiences and a wide range of needs. So where YST stands right now is we've got about 20 different programs under 4 main umbrellas. I know I mentioned runaway and homelessness services. That's everything from we facilitate the Safe Place program, so making sure youth in crisis, whether that's being abused and neglected at home or not liking what their friends are doing on a Friday night, or, maybe they're experiencing some sort of other, situation. Maybe they've, taken all their siblings out of the home. They have access to Safe Place sites all over Tulsa County. And this is actually a national program that we facilitate, but they can go into any one of these Safe Place sites and just say, I need a safe place. And every employee is trained to basically call our shelter. Our shelter will go pick them up and bring them directly there. Our
That's
emergency adolescent shelter serves teenagers. Like I mentioned before, often these are teenagers who might be in between placement and foster care systems. So as we know, kind of the foster families are hard to come by. And especially for those teenagers are hard. And that's why Youth Services was founded, really, is because we know being a teenager is hard. Raising a teenager is hard. It is just, there's a lot happening in a teenager's life that's
Yeah.
causing strife, whether that's biological, social, figuring yourself out, experimenting, trouble in school. There's just a myriad of experiences and issues and little things that you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out who you are. So I kind of call it like, I call them kids very lovingly, our little kids and our big kids. So little kids is like shelter and safe place. And then on our kind of big kids side, we've got like street outreach programs. So serving those young people, 18 to 24 that are living on the streets or living in their cars, or maybe they're even just couch surfing, but don't really have a place to call their own, or not living with their family. And we also have a very large housing program. So really working to kind of mitigate, again, that kind of transitional living that maybe, you and I were lucky enough to either have, we went to college or we had supportive families. A lot of our young people don't. So really trying to figure out how to get them an apartment that, just puts a roof over their head. But then we also provide them with case management services. We don't just put a young person in housing and say, okay, here you go, bye. Our case managers check on them, sometimes daily, if that's necessary. At least weekly, just checking in face to face and helping them kind of figure out how to live, how to solve problems, how to be in an apartment. Often our young people weren't taught how to clean. We've literally had like cleaning classes, like how do you get this stain out of this couch, or how do you sweep this stuff up off the floor? And it's just these little things that we've taken for granted. Along with that too is our employment and education. So helping young people figure out, do you want to go back to school? If you do, what does that look like for you? How do you get a job, maintain a job, do an interview, write a resume? What are you even looking for? Let's talk about what's out there. So again, these case managers really work with our young people to kind of figure out what they need and what's going to serve them the best. We also have under another kind of umbrella is counseling. So our counseling services are, no barrier. You don't need a referral. These are for teenagers. Every teenager gets seen within a week. Just we know that when something happens in a teenager's life, it's pretty immediate and it needs an immediate fix. So we really work to kind of get them seen, get them the help and support that they need right away. So within that, we've got individual and family counseling. We do offer substance abuse counseling, and then we offer community-based counseling. So working to bring counseling services into the community, whether that's the juvenile detention facility, whether that's the court, the family and juvenile court, whether that's a home and we're just serving a family that might not have access to transportation and might not, be able to get their kid to a counseling appointment. And that's a very real barrier, especially for parents. We all have felt the crunch of things getting more expensive. Some of our parents work 2-3 jobs and just aren't home. So how can we provide their child and their young person with services and support when that's not something that they can, deliver them to? So, and we've got youth development. So this is like anything from health education, support services, leadership groups, our youth coffee house, which was one of our original programs at YST, which is basically a safe, sober space for middle schoolers and high schoolers on Saturday evenings. I remember when I was growing up, the youth services was there when I was growing up, but when I was growing up, what did we do? We went to the movie theater, or we went to the mall, and there's just so much opportunity for trouble that you don't even necessarily want to get into. It's just there. And when you're a teenager, you kind of just go with the flow, right? Because that's what your friends are doing. So it's like coffee house is there to kind of provide that space that is safe, but it's a space for them. I fully understand. I do not know what 14 and 15-year-olds want to do on a Saturday night anymore. I get it. I've been there, but I can't remember. And it's probably way different now. So we have young members of our staff that work with them and ask them and plan it with them. And, what do you guys want to do? So it's everything from, slam poetry to arts and crafts to a D&D group night that they do. So it's just
awesome.
It's just, and it's cool. Young people actually put their phones away and talk to each other, which is a pretty cool thing to see. It makes us really happy.
As a father of a 15-year-old daughter, that would be awesome to see that happen.
Right. They actually interact with each other. It's great.
Yeah.
And then finally, that last umbrella that we have is delinquency prevention. So this is everything from first offender courses, which are a way to take young people who have maybe committed minor offenses, taken a Pepsi from Quick Trip, just acting out, experimenting, seeing what's what in the world, and providing them with classes that are really focused on goal setting, talking about repercussions of actions, talking about the future, talking about planning, healthy relationships, just all these kinds of nitty-gritty things that you might not get in a classroom. You learn, but how, some kids need to learn a little bit differently. The wonderful part about this is that it's really classes, but with the young person and the parent. So what we've heard a lot of is that, it's not necessarily what we talk about in class, but it's the ride home afterwards, that really the parent and the teen are kind of, they've been in the same space, hearing the same things, and they get to kind of chat about what those things are. And we've heard from a lot of our parents, this is really it. This is where the magic happens, is talking about those things, talking about goals, talking about the future, talking about, consequences and what that looks like. We also have a youth court program. So young people who volunteer, who might be interested in law careers or just learning more about court, they get to kind of, be the jury, the judge, the bailiff, the prosecutor, the defender, and they kind of have trial by peer, in which young people who and it's really cool. It's young people who, again, it's minor offenses, took a Pepsi from Quick Trip, or maybe they vandalized a bathroom in school, something like that, where they actually, go and get sentences handed down by their peers. Often this looks like restitutions, apologies, nothing, community service, nothing that is, official in terms of that kind of adult court level, but it's really, really effective in terms of, you have somebody who's just a little bit older than you looking in your eye and saying, what you did was not good, and that
Right.
here is the most powerful. And then finally, under that program, under that umbrella, we have our reentry program. So this is for young people who have committed a serious enough offense to be in placement. So whether that's a detention facility or a locked group home, secured group home, what we can do is we can go in and provide them with case management services. I often say, if I'm giving a tour or something of youth services, I often say, you know, a lot of what our case managers do is just establish a trusting relationship with a young person. A lot of these young people haven't ever had that in their life. Adulthood is something that they don't trust, and they are often really really wary of. And I get it. A lot of them haven't had great experiences, whether that's with the system or, you know, if they have a bad life at home. A lot of what our case managers do is just establishing that. And I think that's particularly true in our reentry program. These are case managers that go in and just look at the young people, and it's just an honest communication. What are you guys doing? You know, who why did you do it? Like, what was the point? What were you hoping to get out of? And like, then when you get out, which will happen, how are you not going to reoffend?
Yeah.
How are you not going to get back into those cycles and in those circles that just that will just make this a lifetime for you? You have such a future ahead of you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how we're going to get you there. So that's kind of where we stand now. We've got a lot going on.
Everything.
we do a lot. And kind of moving back from there, you know, we were founded in 1969 with about 8 volunteer staff members. And really, it was just a group of therapists who really saw a need for counseling for teens. Like I said before, it's, you know, being a teenager is really hard. And I think these counselors really recognized that and saw a gap for teens in these services. Like, you know, teenagers are going through so much. They really need people who are specifically focused on them and their experience. So we work to provide that. We also started with our youth coffee house, again, just seeing that need for a safe, sober space, and working a lot with the juvenile justice kind of sector of our worlds. You know, these are, again, really, really underserved teens that just need help and just need support. And so we started with, you know, 8 staff members, and we're up to over 100. We started with 3 different small little programs, and we're now sitting at about 20. So what we try to do as an agency is look around and listen to our youth and say, what are we missing? How can we support you? What's going on in your lives that we aren't noticing? Which is kind of how we added and will continue to add our programs, is talking to our clients, talking to our kids, talking to our nieces and nephews, and talking in schools and saying, what are we missing? You know, and what can we do about it? And then stepping in where we can and when we're able.
Yeah. Well, and one thing we've done for a long time, for like 8 of the years that we've done charitable work like this, we worked with the Northwest Arkansas Children's Shelter, and they were mainly focused, you know, boys over 13 or 14 couldn't go if they were like looking for a foster home, because so kind of that same middle ground, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think this is going to be great, because those 14-year-old boys, I've been a 14-year-old boy before, their brains are like, cars are cool, and so then I think we can take, and I don't know, man. I just really hope that we can help some kids not make bad decisions anymore and, you know, end up at the racetrack more and be around cool people and make good contacts. And the great thing about car people is that literally, I mean, I have 17-year-old friends. I have 87-year-old friends that are all my race car friends. I mean, everybody knows everybody, and we're all going in one direction. So that's what I think, that's what's great about the car community. And then Rodney Reeves here asked, can folks donate to provide food for the kids when they're at the track? Yes, we'll have food vouchers that I'll send over to you guys. You know, and track food is kind of like this whole thing, right? Chicken tenders, hamburgers, hot dogs, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of it's a whole experience.
Perfect.
So we'll send over some vouchers for you guys too. But that opened up the conversation of needs, right? Because as one thing that we always talked about with the children's shelter was, like, a lot of times those people leave wherever they're at with the clothes on their back. That's a problem, right? So as you get somewhere, now you've got to have clothes to change into the next day, or you can wear the same clothes for 3 days. That's fine. But after that, you probably want something different. So
Absolutely.
kind of give us a rundown of where people can donate and where they can see this. This was a picture I pulled obviously from Facebook, but where can they find this constantly updating list?
Yeah, sure. So I can start with that. We work really hard to make sure our website is updated with kind of our current needs for all of our programs. This particular photo was really a need we had, especially when it was so cold, kind of last week, but then a few weeks ago too. We just had no pants to give our young men. We had no pants of any size, of any cut or fabric. We had nothing. So this was really like, a few weeks ago, we had no underwear. And you kind of, that's one of those things that we don't think much about, but you like to wear your underwear for like a day and then that's for that underwear, right? But a lot of these young people, they don't have anything else. So, underwear is something we go through at, a ridiculous rate, just blaze through it because it's, it's underwear, right? So we don't give used underwear. So it's one of those things. And we really work to keep our social media channels updated, again, on our website. Anybody can always call our main office. It's really, really easy. Our people know what's going on and know what our current needs are. In terms of things that are needed, really, if you think about kind of the broad expanse of our programs and kind of fill in, everything that a young person might need to stay in the emergency shelter, everything from clothes to hygiene products to, bags like luggage, backpacks. You're right. When kids come, often they come with like a Target bag full of everything
whatever they could grab to throw in.
Yeah, exactly. And then, blankets, obviously for our kids outside, it's sleeping bags and tents, and even like little camping stoves are really useful for them. Little solar chargers for their phones, little, anything that they can use to kind of mitigate living outside in the winter, hats, scarves, gloves. And then, we take all clothes, all gently used clothes. We take, the only thing we don't use, that we don't give used, is underwear, bras, socks. That's the only thing, but everything else, we have a clothing closet. We kind of keep it like a thrift store where young people could just go kind of shop for what they want, and it's free. But then, we also take furniture. Our housing units, we stock fully with furniture. And when our young people kind of complete the program and graduate, they're allowed to take whatever they want. No holds barred.
They'll have to have it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big expense. And they don't have that. And they don't have, probably grandma, grandpa saying, here are my dishes and here's my bedside table. So we really make that, everything, lamps, beds, bedside tables, kitchen table, things like that, a chair, a framed picture actually is huge. Just, making your apartment homey in a place that you actually want to come back to.
I want to put this out here real quick for the folks that are watching this from the circuit. If you bring anything, that I don't care what it is, we will have an empty trailer. If you want to bring gently used clothes, for all the guys that have gone through this winter and you've put on weight, you're not going to wear those pants anymore. They don't fit. Bring those things. Let's get these kids in some clothes. Pictures. I know people have attics of stuff. I've got stuff in the garage my wife would love to get rid of. So we'll bring a lot of that stuff over.
And whatever is extra too,
we'll bring it to you.
Truck.
We'll
perfect. Come get it.
So we'll be posting about that for everybody that's that's paying attention there. Now, the main thing is, let's talk about money donations, because it costs money to run those programs. And so folks that live maybe out of state that aren't going to make it to the circuit in person, where can they donate? How can they?
Sure. So our website has a link in the top right corner that says donate. It's super easy. It's www.yst.org. And, you have a couple options. We totally understand that it's not a one size fits all thing. You'd be surprised at what a little bit can go a long way. So you can kind of choose if you want to make a one-time donation. That's amazing. If you want to become a part of our monthly giving club, Team YST, that's amazing too. And the reason I say, it doesn't take much is I often think about, even $5 a month for an agency like Youth Services or really any nonprofit agency. It really isn't much for us. Like that's for me, that's skipping one coffee out in the morning, one day a week. Maybe I make my coffee at home. That's well, it depends on what you drink too, right? Like I drink an Americano and that's pretty cheap, but that's $5. If you drink a latte, that can be $10 that you skip one coffee, but that's $120 a year. If 5 people do that, that's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So I love to think about it in terms of, what am I kind of giving up that is so small for me, but actually for a young person is massive and can make a world of difference. So yeah, www.yst.org. It's just right there in the top corner, big green button that says donate.
That's awesome. And one of the biggest things we always talked about with other events in the past was like the children's shelter. They had it down to, I think it was like $280 to feed a kid, right? A meal or a day, or so. I think it's maybe a day. By the time you start figuring that out, like if somebody donates $100, now you've fed 40 meals. That's a lot. When you start looking at the reach of what can be done. Plus, I'm telling you, we get some car people kind of involved. We get like 300 car people involved, and things are going to happen. It's going to be great, and people are going to share, which that's what we want. This is one of the biggest things is raising awareness for you guys, trying to broaden the reach for children's services and YST, youth services of Tulsa. Man, been around a long time. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really feel like this is going to be a long relationship. You guys are awesome. You guys, it's been a lot of fun to watch since we kind of started this whole conversation back in October or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we so appreciate it, and we are really excited to be here tonight. I've loved chatting with you all, and I'm really excited for April. I've never been to one of these things. I'm so excited to see what's what and like have a totally new experience. It's going to be really fun.
Oh yeah. Just wait. You're going to be ruined. You thought Formula One was cool. You wait till you see these cars driving around that are going like 150 miles an hour, and then they get in they hook these little trailers up, and then they drive to the next track. So
perfect.
It's going to be a
blast. Love it. You're going to give a convert.
Oh yeah. And then like in the email I sent earlier, I'd like to talk to you about maybe a group coming to do the racer party with us as well. So
Absolutely.
we can figure all that out as we get closer. Thank you so much, Carolyn. You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you both. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys. So listen, go right now and go follow Youth Services of Tulsa. They're a great follow. They have it's really a lot of fun. It's not give me. It's what they're doing. The Taco Tuesday. I need to be over in Tulsa on Tuesdays to do this T-Town tacos and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get involved, YST.org or follow them on Facebook, Youth Services of Tulsa. It's super cool. And I'm glad I've said this a few times now. This is really something I feel like I've been wanting to find for a while. We've helped the Children's Shelter, Northwest Arkansas Children's Shelter for a long time. We worked with Southwest Missouri, Children's Haven last year. That was kind of that middle ground between being, removed from a bad situation into a foster care, kind of that middle ground there. And so it sounds like Youth Services has a ton of programs to do all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Appreciate everybody for going through that with us. I know that probably raised a lot of emotions for a lot of folks. I know it does for me. I want kids to have a good chance. And like I say all the time, I want kids to know that the car community gives a shit about them, and we want them to be good humans. And man, I'm telling you, 14-year-old boys, we're going to have some converts, man. There's going to be some dudes that weren't necessarily car guys before this event, and they're going to be big time car guys after this. So,
yeah. And there's a lot of people watching that have their own merchandise and stuff that maybe you've got one or two left of an old, I don't know, shirt, hoodie, whatever. Those things you can bring with and donate. There's going to be car people that come out of this weekend that are going to love some, automotive T-shirts or hoodies or anything like that.
Well, and the folks that have been around and have followed on this crazy journey we've done for 13 years now, hosting car events for charity, they know, man, you get around a whole bunch of folks and people start kind of pouring stuff out. And man, it's amazing. One year we raised literally a truckload of toys for the shelter. One year we raised so many toys that we had to split it between the shelter and a foster care program. So last year we had a mound that was about what 3 feet tall and 8 feet long of just like diapers and supplies. I mean, the
Right.
car community is awesome. You guys are
Yeah.
amazing. All right, let's get to it, man. Lead us into the Deechworks stuff here, please.
All right. Deechworks is a leading manufacturer of high performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, fuel pumps, pump modules, fuel rails, regulators, filters, lines and fittings, and surge tanks, all engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to 2200 horsepower. Since its founding, Deechworks has been committed to delivering quality, innovation, and precision to the automotive performance industry. Every DW product is built to maximize reliability and efficiency, ensuring optimal fueling solutions for racers, tuners, and performance enthusiasts worldwide. With a focus on engineering, excellence, and industry-leading customer support, Deechworks continues to drive the future of high-performance fueling. So you guys know we got our own code with Deechworks, so you get 10% off using code DDR10.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was typing stuff there.
No, you're good.
Well, dude, when we were on the phone with Krista a couple weeks ago from Deechworks, and she said that they were going to make an announcement in a few weeks, and then told us who was hired as director of sales for Deechworks. I'm like, this dude is so smart. Mark Campbell, if you guys don't know, is one of the top level 850 class racers in the SN95 Mustang here, Turbo LS setup. Met him on Drag Week 2022, and this car just gets down. First 2 days were 850s with one and done. That was really like when
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is very, very serious stuff right here.
Right.
So after that, had a turbo. I think he had a turbo seal go out, and it still turned in an 855. I think what I put in the notes here. Yeah, 8553. Okay, so he's still in the running, and then an 858. So even with hurt turbos, he still ended up doing it. End up staying up 24 hours fixing the car one night. I mean, like just true nitty gritty drag and drive guy, and worked at Comp Cams for a long time, so knows a lot of the same people we know within the Edelbrock group, and it's just one of the smartest dudes that's out there. And so now he is the director of sales over at Deechworks. This is going to be great for the drag and drive community because that dude knows how to create an entire system that works, right? And that's the whole purpose behind all the sponsors that come on here, is to help teach, right? We don't want to just keep using parts because somebody else used that same part. That may not even be what you want, what you need, you know?
Right.
And so we're going to have him on. He's going to be on March 12th. I'm pumped. We're going to give him an hour, and that dude, he's going to fill our brain with knowledge. So I'm really excited for him to be on, and obviously be working with the Deechworks team. So it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like he'll have a lot of information, and I'll be able to learn quite a bit, especially, Turbo LS Mustang. He's going to probably give me a lot of information that I'm going to need for building my own car. Super
Yeah,
excited.
that's for sure. All right, man. Let's do this. Let's keep rolling here. If you want to lead us into race car friends and stuff.
Yep. Again, thanks everybody that's tuned in so far. Tons of comments. Again, appreciate everybody, every one of our race car friends. Again, I made a bunch of new race car friends, messaging people, friend requesting people for the circuit, just to get pictures of cars to make our artwork. So tons of new people. I appreciate everybody that has responded and everybody that's been watching tonight. And of course, our sponsors. We talk about it all the time, how this wouldn't even be possible without these guys. Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Builds Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. And of course, we talk about it every week, our gentleman's agreement. Again, it's simple. If you're enjoying this live stream, hit that like button, follow, subscribe wherever you're watching. It's our own little gentleman's agreement. No contracts, no strings. Just you showing some love to us and us promising to keep delivering the content you came here for. So keep the vibe alive, like and subscribe, and let's keep rolling.
Yeah, and then PowerTube TV, love the guys over there. Brian and I talked a couple times. Man, they've got this Power Fest deal. It's going to be nuts. If you're wanting to find car, automotive, television, PowerTube TV is great. Pastime, Pinks, which are both coming back in 2025, and we've got a ton of content over there as well. And then of course there's they've got the app, but they've also got YouTube channel. I mean it's great. Content creators galore. All the fun stuff going on at PowerTube. Send us out and we'll get rolling, man.
Well, you want to talk about next week real quick first?
You mean episode 100?
100.
Like, I said this early in the episode. I don't know if people heard this, but dude, 420 live streams, but this will be episode 100 of the show. I mean, there's no telling. I mean, we probably have 300 hours of live stream of talking about drag racing just in the Drag Drive Repeat show without the news that happens. So, I mean, I'm so excited about this. I messaged Adam and Matt both today and asked, this is the monumental episode, right? 100 is a big deal. A lot of live streams don't make it this far, right?
Right.
The ones that do typically, that we just, if you make it to 100, you're going to make it to 200, right? These guys are the reason I started all this, right? Jonathan Stonecipher is pivotal in me following this stuff. Matt Frost is the reason that I competed in a Drag and Drive in 2020 when Drag Week canceled and he kicked off 2.0. Without that, I mean, we wouldn't be right here, or we would, and we'd be on episode 10. You know what I mean? Like it would have been just drastically different. So Adam Dory, he is who I base if I like an announcer on or not. Adam's the best announcers in the game of any automotive stuff. So those two guys are going to be on. I'm going to try and talk June into coming on as well to talk about some of the stuff. I want to talk about the history of Rocky Mountain, kind of where it came from. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary. We're moving into a new era of Drag and Drive and what that means for them and what, we can look at moving forward and all that kind of stuff. So, and obviously we're going to talk about Mega Week. I mean, the biggest, baddest Drag and Drive to ever have happened, the biggest party I think we'll ever see, 600 cars. Like we're going to get nitty gritty. We're probably going to be 2 hours with them. I don't know if we're going to have another guest, maybe not. If we do, it'll be a short one. Yeah, I would love to give them as much time as we can talk about stuff. So I'm already making notes for it. Obviously, I think it's just going to be awesome to have them on and go through that history with them, and the future. Like we're going to talk about all kinds of shit. So it's going to be awesome. Episode 100 will be March 5th. So 3-5. I can't believe it, dude. 100 live streams talking about Drag and Drive, man. It's awesome.
I'm super excited. It's going to be awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Tonight, we've had, like you mentioned, great numbers, tons of people in here, tons of comments. Again, you guys are the reason we do this. So thank you so much for watching every week. Again, going on 100 episodes. If you guys aren't watching this, we wouldn't make it to 100. So again, thank you guys. And like we always say, none of this would be possible if we didn't have our sponsors: Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmission, Card Chains 3D, PowerTube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week for episode 100.
Yep. See you guys. All right.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.